Stand clear.
100% Wild Podcast.
So for all you listeners,
Hello, and welcome to
definitely not your favorite outdoor podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a special fan show edition of the 100% Wild Podcast, powered by DeerCast. You continue to be Matt Drury. Can't be anyone else.
Nobody wants to be me.
You know, you just pick a lane, you stay in it.
That's right. You're Tim Chelsvik. Again, who would want to be a Tim Chelsvik?
I don't know.
Other than the Tim Chelsvik.
I mean, one and only. So we're very, very close to deer season right now.
By the time this airs, we probably are in it, I would think.
I mean, probably.
Probably. Just the math works out that way.
So you're more of a, I'm going to wait for conditions to be really good, which is
yes,
kind of a standard thing to do.
You're more of a, hey, opening day is here. I'm going to hunt. It's 90. F it. I'm out.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And what really sucks is when you kill. Because
Yeah.
then you got the flies to worry about.
I mean, honestly, even on a cool front in the early season, you still got to worry about it because you're talking. It might be the difference from average high in the 80s to 72 or 75,
Yeah.
and so it's still really warm. So it's kind of a goat rope trying to get everything done, and you make sure the deer is taken care of, and hope you put a good shot on them. So there's not that element to it.
I did do a little card checking this weekend, and I think I have a target buck. So
good.
A really
Look forward to
nice
seeing
8-pointer.
Good deal.
So we'll see.
I don't know what. I mean, we got some nice deer on one of the leases and a decent deer on the other lease, but in general, everything's nocturnal. So I'm not like jumping for joy right now. What I am looking forward to early October. I get an Iowa tag. If we get a cool front at all.
Gonna have Mark go film for you.
Well, I don't want to hunt with Mark. I want to go to Mark's. He has invited me graciously to his place, but I've hunted enough with him back in the day. I know better.
Got your fill.
I think we should just keep separate. I mean, I'll be nervous enough. I don't need to have him in my ear. Are you gonna stop him? You want me to stop? And I'm not ready. Like, I don't need that. I've seen enough of the video that they produce up there with guests. Like, I don't need that pressure.
Any whitetail-induced ulcers?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Well, we mentioned this is a fan show. We've got our buddy Nikolas Tanner on. He's another Missouri guy. He's been listening to the show for a little over a year now. Nicholas, what's up, man?
What's up, Nick?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. So we should say right off the get-go here, Nicholas is not only a deer hunter, he also hunts humans.
Oh, that's creepy.
Whatever pays the bills, right?
So that's what interested us the most probably in your submission was kind of your day job. So before we get into the hunting talk, real quick, take us through what you do for a living.
Yeah, so I'm a bail bondsman and bounty hunter, which in turn, it's like, so I go get people out of jail, and then as long as they go to their court date and everything, it's fine. But if they don't end up going to their court date, then I have to figure out where they live. And usually I have good contact tracing. Usually they put down enough information for me to find them pretty easy, but sometimes it's a little tough. And yeah, that's basically it. Sometimes it can be fun. It's a lot of time and effort put into stuff. It's not really worth it because you're not getting paid to go find them. It's just like if you don't find them, you have to pay. So it's
So if you don't find them,
Yep.
you have to pay. You're saying you have to pay the court.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what it is like if I get somebody out on a $10,000 bond, they owe me 10%. So that's $1,000. So I get $1,000, and then if they go to court, do their job, go to their court dates, get everything done, then that's the end of it. But if they don't go to court, since it's a $10,000 bond, I'm basically giving the jail and the courts a check for $10,000. So if they don't go to court, then that court's going to come cash their check if they don't have their guy in there. So I have to give the court $10,000 if I don't get the people in.
So you're highly motivated.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Kind of got to go get them, and it is what it is. But definitely don't want to pay the courts $10,000.
So I mean, there's I could ask a billion questions about this. So.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if I'm sure social media has probably helped you a lot trying to track people down.
Absolutely. Social media, you'd be surprised what people will post on there. Like,
I would not.
A lot of times a lot of times that you can go to their posts and they'll geotag their posts exactly like where they're at.
Just checked in at Shoney's.
Well, let's be real. They're in jail for a reason.
They ain't the smartest.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're not, and usually, like, I go and look at the person before, like, if they've been bonded out before, have they ran from other people before, and if they're showing a long line of not being so great of a person, usually I pass on that bond.
Yeah, not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So tell me how, like, the tactics that you use as a whitetail hunter, are you employing any of those same tactics tracking down these folks?
Yeah, sometimes. So, like, a lot of the times, like one I just went on recently, we had to kind of do a stakeout on a known drug house. And it takes a lot of patience. Like, sometimes you sit there for a long time because you're only legally allowed to enter the addresses that they have on file with you and sign the contract with those addresses. So if you know they're not at that address, you can't go in and get them unless you know for sure that they're in there. So sometimes it takes a long time, like sitting outside of the house and just waiting. So that patience role kind of comes into play along with whitetail hunting. So
you're sitting in the vehicle watching the house. How long does it typically take for you to figure out where they are, and then how do you get them out of the house?
Usually it's an all-day event. So usually, I mean, if you see them peek through a window and you know for a fact it's them. So you've bonded them out before, you've seen their face, you have their picture, you took the picture when they got out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
You're legally allowed to enter the premises if you see them in there. Or usually they come out and start walking around or get into a car, and usually you get them then. So, but the average time, and sometimes it takes all day just sitting outside of the house. Sometimes it takes 30 minutes. Sometimes it takes all day. I mean, it kind of just depends. It's a crapshoot.
And what's their reaction? Like, how do you come up and like, I'm sure they recognize you. Like, yeah, Nick, hey, what's up, man?
They always give you the line, "Oh, I promised I was going to turn myself in. I was turning myself in today." Yeah, sure you were, man. Sure you were going to. But that's probably 9 out of 10 times it's, "Oh, I was going to turn myself in today. I promise I wasn't trying to screw you over."
Yeah. So what kind of criminals are you typically dealing with? Are we talking like, hardened, like, you're not talking like killers. You're talking probably like armed robbery or breaking and entry.
Yeah, it's a lot of like
jaywalkers,
theft, a lot of drugs, a lot of just. Sometimes it's like repeat offenders just doing petty stuff and not going to jail for it, like driving while suspended, a lot of that kind of stuff. It's a lot of theft. But I mean, I'm in Colombia, so I mean, murder is kind of few and far between. So.
Well, I find it fascinating. I wouldn't want to do it, but I find it fascinating.
Do things ever get physical?
Oh yeah. People always try to. I probably. Over half the time they try to run, usually got to chase them. So it's not that part of it's not too fun because I'm 25. I'm starting to get some wear on me, and I don't really want to run after anyone.
I got a question about this. So what kind of shoes do you wear? Like, are you like, I got my runners on today? Or are you wearing like shit kicking boots?
Dude, I go out there and I just regular tennis shoes. I don't even wear running shoes. So I mean, and usually, I mean, most of them aren't too hard to catch. Like I said, a lot of them are doing a lot of dope, so they don't run too far.
I would pay to see that. The method trying to run.
Can you wear a point of view camera next time you do one of these?
Hey.
Yeah, I thought about doing that, so I might start doing that because it'd be fun to watch them back.
It'd be
like explain some of these to people. It's just like, oh yeah, that sounds cool, but it's a lot of those times it's like it's one of those you had to be there type of thing.
I would think that'd be a pretty fun YouTube channel. Like,
oh yeah,
blur out the face or whatever you got to do for legality's sake. But like you got a real cops channel. That would be interesting.
One of my buddies. One of my buddies is a bounty hunter, and he hates Dog the bounty hunter because he's like, it never goes down like that. You're never having a heart-to-heart. Like, these guys are trying to cut you or run back into their house or shoot at you, or like it never goes down like it does on TV.
No, it never does. It's a lot. TV makes it look a lot more like heartfelt, like you're trying to help them out. But these people that you're going after are like actively trying to screw you out of like say 10 grand. It's just like when I finally catch up to them, I'm not feeling like a heart to heart really. So.
By the way, I make that much in a year, so not that big of a deal for me.
All right, so let's jump into the reason that you're on the podcast. You're listening because I assume you're a whitetail hunter, right? I see one over your shoulder there in the room. When did you get into hunting?
So I started hunting probably when I was like 12 or probably around 12 with my dad, and that was just rifle hunting. And then I went to the Army after I graduated high school, and I never bow hunted before. I got out of the Army. I'm really good with my buddy Landon and his dad Russ, and his dad Russ does a lot of crossbow hunting, but Landon does a lot of bow hunting, and he really got me into it after I got out and kind of set my sights in on bow hunting. And ever since that I started bow hunting, I loved it. And it's a lot different than going out with a rifle in a lot of different aspects. It kind of makes it a little bit more challenging. The aspect kind of levels the playing field a little bit, and I really enjoy that.
So do you hunt primarily on permission land, private land, public land?
So my girlfriend that I've dated for the last 2 years, her grandparents actually have a farm down in Callaway County. It's a 300-acre cattle farm, and I've hunted that this will be my 3rd year hunting that. So.
Sounds like wife material to me.
Keeper.
Just saying.
No, I'm pretty fortunate. The whitetail herd out there is super healthy, and it's a great place to be.
So what was the moment when you were like, okay, bow hunting is my thing? Was there a particular thing that happened that turned that trigger?
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of getting started out shooting a bow. Like I picked up a bow before and kind of dabbled in it when I was younger, but I never actually committed to bow hunting. And like after I started shooting the bow and after like I seen everything that went into it, like I was like, hey, man, like I really like this. Like this is like a lot more fun, I guess, than going out with a gun, because the gun's quick and easy. I mean, but a bow kind of it's a little bit more challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like that aspect. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a method person. Like the process is important.
You're a meth head.
Sounds like. Yeah, you're the meth head bounty hunter. It's Nick Tanner. Well,
the actual like build up is it's important for me, and I like the actual hunt itself. So.
Yeah.
Good.
The process. Well, Nick, do you have some questions for us that we can help you with?
Yeah. So I actually have one for me. Or like one to help me out, and then one to just figure out with you guys. But
okay.
So cell cams have changed the game. Like cell cams, like they send them right to your phone at any time. The problem I'm having with my farm in Callaway County, the farm that I hunt there, is there's zero service anywhere. So how often do you think I need to be in there checking cards and not have to worry about that intrusion factor?
Kind of depends on where that camera is located. If it's a perimeter location or if it's getting closer to bedding and back in the timber. Where is it?
So I have one on a field edge that's probably a little over 100 yards away from where I know some are bedding at.
Mm-hmm.
And then one is on an island of timber, and then another one is on a field edge.
Mm.
I mean, I know, Tim, you still use mostly regular cell or regular cameras. You just picked up a couple new cell cameras. I mean, I had used regular cameras for the first 6-7 years on the lease that I was hunting, and I would not go in often just based on that's kind of the way Mark and Terry always. That's kind of I was indoctrinated in that method. Mm-hmm. So I try not to go in often. And honestly, it's not like I was at the property often. And I'm sure, I mean, if you're in Columbia and you're hunting Callaway, you're not that far away from it. So if you really wanted to, you could pop in and pop out pretty easily. But I mean, I think part of it is understanding when, like historically, when your deer kind of move, so like you got those 3 camera setups. It's like, all right, this one I know I don't need to check until, if it's in the timber, like I don't really need to know what's going on here until closer to, say, mid to late October. But the one on the field edge, if I'm hunting a food plot, like I kind of want to know what's going on there a little more often. Try to get in there with sometimes if you can, like I would drive my truck straight to the spot or drive, these e-bikes or bicycles or whatever. There's a bunch of different ways you can get to it with low intrusion.
Unicycle.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. And so then in that instance, it's like I would check those a little bit more often, which I think was the point you were getting at. It's like, if it's on the perimeter, it probably doesn't hurt it to check it a little often. But when I did, I tried to make sure the wind was right, blowing in my face. And I was trying to make sure that I was, I always remember Jared and Mark talking about this, being as hunting proof as I can. So my hunting boots are on. I'd spray a little nose jammer on the bottoms of them. I'm trying to, we did that the other day, setting cameras. Yeah. Just trying to make sure that we weren't leaving much of a trail behind.
Yeah. And I just did some checking on Saturday, and I waited till around noon to go out because, I figured that they'd be in their beds, and I'd do as little intrusion as possible. So try to time it right. And then the other thing you can do, Nick, is if you've got your cameras in kind of a touchy area, maybe wait to check it until you go into hunt. Like I'm going to hunt that stand, so I know I'm going to be in there regardless. The wind is right, so I'll grab the card on my way in, then sit there in the stand and hunt it and check as you're going, and you'll know.
Certainly, when you get into like mid to late October, check it on your way in. Check it. Late October, early November, you're checking your cameras to and from. It doesn't give you great intel leading into the hunt, but I mean, if you more or less know what's in your area, and you kind of feel like you have a general pattern on them. It's always great to think these cell cameras are great to know, hey, he moved last night. Well, what am I doing with that intel? That doesn't help me today.
Right.
In most instances, if he was moving during daylight hours yesterday, maybe that helps me. It's like, all right, I got the same wind. I'm going to go in there. He's kind of on a pattern. So yes, there's tons of advantages to the cell camera, but I mean, really, if you're there's been years where most people were hunting without them and having great success. It's just you might be scouting for the next year as much as you are for this year, I guess is my point.
ABS, always be scouting.
ABF, always be farting.
That's
right. Am I right?
Some of our guys live by that. Makes scent control really tough, but
you asked for it.
Yeah. Well, as with most answers in real life, there's a lot of complexities to it. So that's our best.
So what's your next question?
Okay, so this one is for you guys, kind of more personally. So a lot of us have had a lot of fails during a lot of hunts. So what do you think each of your guys' biggest fail has been during a hunt?
There's so many.
I could name one.
Yeah, why don't you go?
This was early on hunting with Dad. This is after I came back from college and really just picked up hunting again. Because there was a period there where I wasn't at all. And so we're bow hunting, and I got two fails. And I think this goes to you gotta put a lot of hunting under your belt to know the things that can happen to you, and especially when you're archery hunting. So the first one, Dad was filming me. We were out specifically trying to kill a couple does, and I killed the first one, went well. Another doe comes out, a little bit later, and we're still in the tree stand, and he's like, go ahead and let's shoot this one. And I spined her, and then, so I had already used one arrow, and then I spined her with the second arrow. The second deer I spined with my, with the second arrow. I'm running out of arrows. So the first thing, obviously, he's like, hey, you need to try to hit her again, and let's take care of her here. And so when they're spined, she's kind of moving around the back legs.
It's not pleasant.
It's not pleasant at all. So I aim and I shoot, and she had moved right as I shot and hit a bad shot, and before I know it, I'm out of arrows. And it was a very unsettling experience. I was probably 23 maybe. It was like, God dang, I felt horrible. And so then we had to get down and actually take care of the deer by using a knife, which was also very unpleasant. So that made me really think hard and long about taking a shot and having settled in and making sure I was doing the right thing.
Makes you commit to it.
Saying that, I then a couple years later, there's a buck I was after at Ed Dad's, and we knew who he was. Old deer. Go in there, and I was in a box blind, one of these homemade ones that they had on the farm, and I shoot. And this box blind, I wasn't. What I didn't know, the windows at that time were too high up. So my clearance was, I didn't have the clearance. I nicked the top of the windows, the top of the bottom windowsill. I nicked, and it sent the arrow, off into the ether. And me being young enough, I thought the deer ran, and I ranged him, and he was at, 40 something yards. And I thought I could take that shot. And I followed up, and I made a poor shot. And those are the two times where I made bad shots. And those are the two things that have stuck with me in archery hunting, and I'm 41 now, and those were both in my early to mid 20s, and those things have stuck with me ever since. And so when a deer is at 40 and I think, can I take that shot? I'm like, well, you know what? I'm probably not good enough to take that shot.
Yeah, which is, I think, a mark of maturity.
So those were two big fails for me.
Sure. So I'd set up on a little pinch point, and it was during bow season, and had a really nice buck come through, and I took the shot. It was like a 20-yard shot. I hit him a little farther forward than I wanted to, and so it hit, like, it was a loud crack, like I hit that front leg bone. But I saw, like, it looked like I got enough penetration to at least touch the heart. And the major issue here was I just didn't wait long enough. I maybe waited a half hour, got down out of the stand, and started approaching where I saw the buck go down back in some brush, and he just got up and tore off back into the timber. And I was left standing there like, oh my gosh, what just happened? I couldn't find, like, there was blood in his bed, but I couldn't find a blood trail. I ended up never finding that deer. And so the two things that stuck with me out of that were, it's really hard to wait too long on a deer. And this is probably 10 plus years ago. But the other thing is it's stuck in my head that I hit that leg bone. And so I always find myself cheating a little farther back off that, because I just don't want to hit that. I'd rather hit a little farther back than hit the leg and just have no penetration into the vitals.
And if you look at the anatomy, like say you go in a DeerCast track and you look at that anatomy of where that bone is, I mean, there is a good spot behind it. I think that's the misnomer of what the shoulder is, because it actually curves like a triangle.
V shape.
Yeah, V or whatever. And so that is, you had to have been a little bit forward, but so my point is, it doesn't take much to come off of that, to come back just a little bit and double lung shot. But that's one of those lessons you only learn when you do it, right?
Yeah, and it's always in my mind. I've never shot a deer forward. Come to think of it, I've never shot a deer forward since that point. I've shot some a little farther back than I wanted to, but these things they remain with you. They kind of color who you are as a bow hunter.
Yeah.
So yeah, great questions, Nick.
How about you? Any regrets?
I was just about to say something. Mine's a lot super similar to Tim's. So it was like it was my actually first bow kill on a deer, and it was my first year hunting that farm that I was talking to you guys about. And I got it on video. My girlfriend was with me, and she videoed it. And I was using an expandable broadhead, and that argument's been really big here recently, and it really came down to I had bad shot placement. I shot too far forward, and I hit that bone and almost ricocheted off that bone and actually went in front of that scapula a little bit. And luckily, I didn't know it at the time, but luckily it had clipped one single lung, and he ran off. He threw the arrow probably about after 20 yards. I only got like 5 or 6 inches of penetration on it, and I had good blood starting out, and it was an evening hunt, and was tracking the blood. I probably had good blood for about 60 or 70 yards, and it almost completely seemed like it vanished. So I went ahead and backed out, waited till the next day, called my buddy out, and we ended up finding him in a creek bed about 300 yards from where I shot him. And coyotes had already got to him.
Sucks.
Pretty rough by them, but it's super similar to that. And it's just like, it's just too far forward shots, regardless expandable or fixed, too far forward. It's not usually good thing.
Yeah, everybody likes to bust on expandables for that shot in general, but I don't know. We've, as a team, have killed thousands of deer with expandable broadheads, and more times than not, they've saved our butt than they've caused us, recovery of a deer.
Right.
So I don't know. Like you said, I think the big thing is there's a lot of deer there. If you back off the shoulder just a couple inches,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of target there.
There's a lot of deer there. Nick, I got a question for you. Do you remember what your answer was to the questionnaire question? What's your favorite thing about the show?
Yeah, I said when it's over.
All right, Nick the Dick.
And that's why this episode will never air. We just jacked you around and ate up 30 minutes of your
Tim,
time.
easy.
Hey-o.
All right. Well, so anything else for us, Nick, before we jump off, buddy?
You know what? I think that's pretty much it, man. I had a great time. This was a super cool experience, and I appreciate you guys getting me on here and getting to talk with you.
You better stay safe out there. We got deer season upon us here. We can't be getting injured, chasing down some meth head. So be careful.
Got to keep everything ready to go. So,
Hey, next time turn on the camera and go ahead and send that footage in of you busting somebody. I'd like to see it.
all right, yeah, I'm getting ready to actually go on one possibly today. So I can figure something out and send one in to you guys.
Busting makes me feel good.
Although, Tim, shut up. Although I would imagine that if it's a criminal, a camera in their face is only going to make them more agitated.
I love that stuff.
So you better be careful.
But they're usually already pretty angry as it is.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
All right.
Well,
All
be
right.
careful out there. Good luck this season. Keep in touch with us and let us know how you do in Callaway.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Thank you.
All right. And if folks want to be a part of the show, just click the hyperlink in the show notes. It'll take you to the audition page, answer some questions, and submit a 30-second audition video, and we'll check it out.
All right. They've been fun so far.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Yeah.
them.
We got good guests.
All right. Well, until next time, we appreciate all you listeners, all you viewers. Deer season's here. Be careful out there. Until next time, peace out.
See ya.
DeerCast is now supercharged with maps. Get ahead of your game with killer new features like live Doppler radar, wind check out to 5 days, virtual rain gauges, GPS path tracking, and more. Plus, get our 14-day revolutionary DeerCast prediction and access to DeerCast Track. Prep, predict, and pursue with DeerCast.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV was brought to you by Leupold.